Hi everybody, I am Thomas from Virginia Outdoors Unlimited, and today we're going to be doing a video to kind of wrap up the 2019-2020 season. What we're going to be doing today is taking a look at the stat sheet that I keep throughout the course of a waterfowl season. It's just basically an Excel sheet where I keep a bunch of different stats about how many birds we kill, the species of birds we kill, just a bunch of different stuff. And then on top of that, I'm also going to be showing you guys my Freelance Hunt Stats. So Freelance Hunt Stats is a website that my buddy Freelance Duck Hunting has developed, and it allows you to track your shooting, track weather conditions, a bunch of different stuff. So we're going to look at some general trends in terms of how this season went compared to last season, stuff like that in the Excel sheet, and then we'll dive into some kind of individual numbers for me in the Freelance Hunt Stats. So while I'm doing this, I'm going to be doing a little screen recording on the laptop. So here's the stat sheet that we're going to be working off of. This is all the stuff I keep basically, so you got a bunch of different stuff. So we're going to be going through the 2019-2020 season line basically. As you can see, this is only VA season stats though, so this stat sheet does not have any information from the two hunts I went on Kansas in, but my Freelance Hunt Stats, which we'll be pulling up as well, that does have information from my two hunts in Kansas. So just keep that in mind. These are all Virginia hunts, so nothing out of state. So 2019-2020, we got out on 31 total hunts. That is actually the lowest in the past 3 years, but I actually didn't miss out on many days during duck season that I typically hunt. Typically I get out on like 3 to 4 hunts per week during duck season. This year I did about the same. Where this number basically lost hunts was goose season. I only hunted once during September goose season, which is weird for me. Typically I'm hunting at least 3 to 4 times in September goose season. I was just really busy that time of year this year. And then late goose season, we just didn't have geese around to hunt. So just did not do many late goose season hunts, and that's why that number is 31 compared to probably 38 or 39 if we had got out on a bunch of goose hunts, because I did a lot of duck hunting this year. So a little bit disappointed still to only have 31 hunts. Ideally, I want to be at like a 40 number. That's what I think would be a good number for me in a year, between trying to balance college and everything. So total group birds, this is basically what the group bagged on every hunt I was on. That was 134 ducks and geese this year. That is down about over 50 birds from last year, and that just can be attributed to tough conditions. I think this is probably the most glaring stat in terms of the lack of weather we had. Last year we at least had some cold fronts push through in January, and this year we just did not have any weather. I mean, we were devoid of weather from basically mid-December to almost late January. So I think that's a big reflection of that. Again, this number, we had really good weather in 2018 or 2017, 2018, but I really was just getting into waterfowling at that point, so didn't have a good grasp on how to hunt cold weather. So I think, we get another year with 2017, 2018 weather. I think we'll be right back in that ball game with 180, 190 birds. Really, this doesn't mean anything to me. It's just interesting to track to see, how basically the weather and other factors affected the season. So total individual birds here, this year only 67 total individual birds. Again, down 12 birds from last year, right about the same as 2017, 2018. A statistic where I'm a little bit more upset is the total group birds lost. Again, we are at 13 birds. Last year was 14. The year before it was 15. We seem to be going down 1 bird a season, but I really want that to drop below 10. That number could have been a lot higher. It also could have been a lot lower. It could have been a lot higher in that I had a couple dogs that I hunted with this season. Wade, Chase's dog, he got out on a handful of hunts, and then maybe that's the only dog I hunted with. But I hunted with Wade a decent bit. And then it also could have been a lot lower, because if I had a dog, I would have found a couple birds that I lost this season or got away from us this season. And for people who are asking when you're going to have a dog, I always get that question a couple times throughout the season. It's just not time for me yet, I guess is the best way to say it. I'm in college. I live in a dorm room. I'm just not ready for the responsibility that a dog brings on. So 13 birds. Hopefully we'll have that down to below 10 next season. In terms of total individual puddle ducks, this is how many puddle ducks I individually harvested. This year it was 46. That's the highest out of the 4 years on the stat sheet, and that's because I personally really targeted puddle ducks this year. I typically go after divers a little bit, go after geese a little bit, and this year I really just focused on the puddle ducks. Of those 46, 19 were wood ducks, 15 were mallards, 5 were gadwall, 5 were black ducks, and 2 were green-winged teal. Pretty standard for us in terms of mallards and wood ducks. This year I had more, sorry, I keep on saying we, I should be saying I in this one. This year I had 19 wood ducks in comparison to 15 mallards. Last year I had 19 mallards in comparison to 11 wood ducks. So I thought this was going to be kind of the way it went from now on. I typically see more mallards than wood ducks in the spots I now hunt. But this year we had more wood ducks than mallards. I think that'll be the case as long as that Atlantic flyway mallard limit stays the same. Got 5 gadwall as well. Typically we see a few gadwall in the swamps, but this year there was a huge increase in the numbers of gadwall in 2 spots that I hunt. One spot used to be just a mallard spot. You would have like 400 mallards that just worked this giant area of swamp in there, and this year it was like 100 mallards and 600 gadwalls. It was insane. Like, you would hunt it and it would just be gadwalls all morning, but they'd be flying 100, 150 yards up and just would not drop down as the morning went on, especially because we'd always go out there in cloudy conditions, because I always expected there to be mallards out there. I was like, you know, these gadwalls just aren't going to stick around, and they just stuck around all season long. So that was actually really cool. We didn't really ever kill many of them, but to have them as a bonus duck in the area, to see all them, they're always all morning, so they're a pretty cool bird. So happy to see a lot of them. Black ducks were another story of where I saw a lot more than I did in previous seasons in the same area. Also got the opportunity to hunt with my buddy Eli in his swamp that's down by the Chesapeake Bay, so that's another good black duck spot. So that kind of explains the big jump in black ducks here, but still, that was a really big jump in black ducks. I'd killed 1 black duck before in my whole lifetime. As you can see, there's only 1 black duck on the stat sheet before this year, and this year 5 black ducks. So definitely a big jump. I'm really happy to be getting more black ducks. They're absolutely one of my favorite birds, and especially with the mallard limit going down, you kind of have to have that, a couple bonus ducks to keep the morning going a lot of times. So 2 green-winged teal, that was cool too. Got 1 in the early season and 1 right at the end of the season. So a couple nice green-winged teal, nice to have those back in the picture again. I got a couple of those last year, but hadn't had them kind of previously before that. So hopefully we can keep the green-winged teal. No widgeon this year, and then that pintail I shot on it that would be on the sheet, and the shoveler actually. Both those were shot in Kansas, so you can add those in mentally. In terms of total group puddle ducks, it was 86 for this year. That's down 2 from 88 last year. Not bad at all. The big notable thing here is that wood ducks and mallards flipped big time. Last year we had 44 mallards in the bag and 21 wood ducks. This year it was 37 wood ducks and 32 mallards. Actually had a decrease in gadwall from last season in terms of total group gadwall, but those gadwall last year were on like 2 or 3 hunts primarily. This year we kind of had them a little bit more spread out. Had 7 black ducks, which is a big jump. 2 black ducks in 18-19 and 1 black duck in 17-18. And then in terms of variety past that, really not much this year in Virginia. You got 3 green-winged teal in comparison to 5 green-winged teal. And here's where you can see the deficit from this year. Very, very few diver ducks and mergansers. Actually, I only individually shot 3. Mergansers on the year didn't shoot a single diver duck. It's not really surprising that the divers went down. I never targeted them at all. But typically we have a couple that I get on the river or something like that, and just did not happen this year except for mergansers. In terms of group diver ducks, we actually did get a little variety. Got 2 ringnecks and 1 bufflehead. Chase killed both of those ringnecks, and Austin killed that bufflehead. Got a couple more hooded mergansers, but 9 in comparison to 29 and 25 previous years. Just a big drop. I mean, just no place to hunt them in the warm weather, which is all we had, and then it never got cold enough to hunt them in our cold weather spots. So that's really all there is to that. Individual geese, I only ever shoot Canada geese, so that's all that's on this sheet. But 18 individual geese this year, and honestly, that's lucky that that's that high. That's primarily that one good hunt we went on in September, and then just picking away at them in the AP zone. I really never hunted geese in the western part of the state very much. And then group geese, 39. big drop, but like I said, never really got after geese in the western part of the state where we really hammered them last year. If we'd been able to have a 2-bird limit goose season in the eastern part of the state this year, that number would be way up. The goose numbers were really good across the eastern part of the state from what I saw. There was multiple hunts where, no lie, I could have killed 30 geese in a morning, just that many geese around. But the season was out that day, and then other days when I could have hunted them, there was a 1-bird limit. So tough to kind of justify going and chasing a huge pile of geese to shoot one or 2 birds out of it, maybe 3 if you bring 3 guys at most. And here are the statistics that I keep. We're going to very briefly cover these. Really, they have very little meaning. They're basically the individual birds per hunt. They're just averages is what they are. So the average number of individual birds per hunt here was 2.6. So I came away with just over 2 birds. That's ducks and geese if you combine them both. In terms of group birds per hunt, that's the lowest in 3 years. The group came away with 4.32 birds per hunt. So not many last year. It was way better. We dropped over a bird from last year. Just a little bit worse than 17-18, but like I said, we had really good weather in 17-18. Definitely this is another indicator of how bad the weather was, how bad the conditions were. Really just seeing a big decrease there. In terms of best personal bag, that was 6 birds. That was that hunt in September where I killed 6 geese, and then of those 6, on that same hunt, we killed 14 geese in total. So put up the best numbers on the first hunt of the season. I think that's another thing to say. And then lastly, in terms of skunks, this year the reason that number is at 0 because this year I didn't count hunts that I went on with other people at their spots and we got skunked on as skunks. I don't know if that's fair, but basically what I wanted to do this year was test a hypothesis that if I only hunted my spots when I had scouted birds in there, I would never get skunked, and that was true. If I didn't have a good group of birds locked down in one of my spots, we didn't hunt them just because I didn't want to hurt small numbers of birds. I wanted to let big numbers of birds get in there before we hunted them. So here are my Freelance Hunt Stats from this season. What Freelance Hunt Stats is basically a tool that allows you, or a website that allows you to log all of your hunt stats. That's going to be weather, the amount of birds you killed, how many shots you took per hunt, a bunch of different cool stuff. And this is going to be my lifetime stats page. This is what we're going to go over. We're not going to look through my hunts because I have some names in there that are location specific. So first off, you can see my overall shooting. That's 42%. And I like this because you can go and look at the global average. And the global average for this is basically every hunt that he has logged in Freelance Hunt Stats. That's what global is. I'm shooting just a little bit better than the average person on this site, I guess is the best way to put that, which is what I pretty much expected. I think I shoot pretty much average. When I'm in the blind, I knock down about the same amount of birds as everybody else. So 42% is good with me. I've always, when I've kept track of it in the past, I've been about right around 35. So that's up a little bit, and hopefully I want to get that up somewhere around 45-50% for next year. In terms of overall birds harvested per hunt, that's 2.45 birds, and that's because I included that Kansas, those couple Kansas hunts in here, so up a little bit with those hunts. Lost per hunt, I actually didn't lose that many birds individually. It was typically birds that got knocked down by the guys I was hunting with. I lost about 1 bird every 10 hunts, so lost 1/10 of a bird per hunt, 0.09. In terms of shots fired per hunt, I'm at 6 shots per hunt, so a little bit below the actual average in terms of the global average. Total harvested birds, I shot 76 birds between Kansas and Virginia this year. Like I said, plenty of birds for me. I lost 3 of birds in total. Of those 13 birds we lost, only 3 of them I individually thought I hit. And then 8 doubles in total. That's good to see. I'm really happy to get a few more doubles in there. I feel like my ability to not rush myself improved as the season went on. I was really rushing myself early, and then I had the ability to calm down, only try and really take 2 shots per volley, and I found myself doubling up more when that was the case. I didn't get any triples this year. And then in terms of total shots fired, that was 188 this season. That was about what I expected. I think I went into the season with like 8 boxes of ammo purchased, and I shot most of those. So 188 total shots, that's plenty for me. So that's basically all there is to my stat sheet. Hopefully that wasn't too much looking at a computer screen. I know I wasn't really looking up at the camera very often, but this year was a fun year. Still got out on a bunch of fun hunts with good friends. Got to make that trip out to Kansas and hunt with the Flyways Collective. So I'm going to leave a link down below. If you guys haven't already checked out the Flyways Collective, definitely check that out. We have a website. We have kind of a bunch of different links to different stuff on there. So that's all I really have today. Hope everybody enjoyed this video. If you guys have any questions about any of the stats I showed you, if you guys just want to let me know kind of how you guys did this season, let me know what different species you got. Oh, I forgot that. My first species. I got first species, my first pintail, my first shoveler, and my first redhead. So 3 new species this season. Those were all in Kansas, so I still have to get all of those species in Virginia still. But yeah, super cool season. Hope everybody stayed safe this season. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, and thanks for watching.
Pretty work, boys.